This is Megan, and welcome to Stories in the Woods. Today's forest fact comes from Rylan.
We're going to hibernate.
Tree frogs do hibernate. Thanks for another great tree frog fact, Rylan. Last time we were together, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger. If you haven't yet, make sure to go listen to part 1 of Lily and Fiona and the Friendship Fiasco. Well, today we are going to continue our story, but from a slightly different perspective, Lily's. Okay, all you humans and forest dwellers, here we go. Lily's entry into the world was rather explosive, quite literally. As the hundreds of tadpoles wiggled free, she was bumped and bounced away from the other eggs. She came tumbling out of her egg, dizzy and confused, and gotten very stuck in the mud. A cheerful voice had come to her rescue, and before she knew it, she was somersaulting through the water, and the small tadpole who had pulled her out was asking her name. "I'm Fiona," the tadpole shared. Fiona was a fabulous friend. Cheerful, positive, and energetic, Lily loved all the things they did together. But sometimes what Lily really wanted was some time on her own. She didn't want to hurt her exuberant friend's feelings, though, so she stayed quiet. While Fiona was enormously excited about the great change, it had been much harder for Lily. She found all the changes a little scary and uncomfortable. She wished she could be more fearless like Fiona, but every time she thought about when she would have to leave the pond, her heart would start beating really hard and her brain would start racing. What if I can't figure out how to use my frog legs? What if I don't like the taste of bugs? What if I get stuck as half tadpole and half frog? On the rare occasion that Fiona and Lily weren't together, Lily would swim over to her favorite spot in the whole pond, the library. Here were rows and rows of books for the little tadpoles to flip through and read to learn about the great change in frog history. Lily had been particularly taken with an account of a famous frog by the name of Amelia. She had been bold and adventurous, like Fiona, thought Lily, and had traveled the world to meet tree frogs of every type. Except Antarctica, Lily had learned there were no tree frogs at all there. Lily loved reading and learning. She thought maybe someday she would help other frogs and tadpoles discover the true joy of a good story. Fiona really wanted to go out and do, which fit her very well, thought Lily. But I love my home here, and I'd like to stay. It was hard to tell her friend this, though, as she would constantly talk over Lily, and Fiona was just, so much Fiona. The girls were getting ready for the autumn festival that was held for all new froglings who had gone through the big change. Fiona thought friends had to like and do all the same things, but Lily wasn't so sure. There were lots of things like tadpole tag that Lily loved to do too, but she also had things that were different. She was pretty sure Fiona could still be her friend. Fiona was trying on all sorts of silly clothing for the festival. Lily smiled and shook her head. Nothing was really very... Wait. Lily's eyes grew wide, and she dug further into the clothing bin. There was something smooth and shiny, and she pulled it out. Was this what she thought it was? She went to examine it closer, but suddenly her webbed feet were empty. What? Fiona was waving around the telescope and saying something about going to ask another frog. But Lily tried to tell her, "Wait, Fiona, but I know what that is." Fiona didn't hear her and bounced away with excitement. Lily was starting to feel very frustrated. Why didn't her friend ever listen to her? Fiona came hopping back, and Lily tried to grab the telescope. "Fiona, I bet Amelia went to every corner of the world," Fiona said dreamily, thinking about all the places her and Lily would visit together. Not Antarctica, Lily piped up, and she tried to share what she had read the other day, but Fiona kept talking over her. She was starting to feel warm in her cheeks and tense. This was a new feeling, and she realized she was angry at Fiona. "Where are you going?" called Fiona. "I don't want to go to the festival, and I don't want to go exploring." Lily hopped away and could feel tears in her eyes. She and Fiona had never had a real fight before, and it did not feel good. She didn't know where to go, but she didn't really want to go to the festival. So she jumped her way to the place she felt safest, the library. She found a book about Amelia and started to read, but she was finding it hard to concentrate on the words. They kept blurring in front of her from her tears. A funny sound startled her. "Hello?" she called. A pair of enormous frog eyes peered at her in the dark. "Good evening." An elderly frog with large spectacles shuffled out from behind a stack of books. "Oh, hello," Lily smiled politely. "I'm Lily." "Penelope," the frog said, and gave a raspy croak and cough. "And why, my dear, are you not at the festival?" Penelope inquired, peering over her massive pair of glasses. "I didn't really feel like going," Lily said, and hesitated before adding, "and I had a fight with my friend Fiona." "Fiona." The elderly frog blinked slowly. "Fiona. Is that the rather exuberant young lady who speaks as fast as a hummingbird's wings? The one who hopped in circles around me as she spoke and made me rather dizzy?" Lily smiled. "Yes, that sure sounds like her. I didn't know she came to the library." "I believe she came to find out why you were always here," Penelope croaked, blinking her large eyes again. "At least from what I could decipher from her rapid ramblings." Oh. This bit of news made Lily pause. She assumed that Fiona was so wrapped up in her own world and idea she hadn't even noticed that Lily loved coming to the library. Did she say anything else? Penelope thought for a moment. "Hibernation." "Hibernation?" Lily was confused. "Hibernation. Where, when, how long. If she could still do something called jazzercise." Oh, Lily paused. She thought about how adamant Fiona was about leaving before the winter frost came. She remembered Fiona saying something about being underground and the unending darkness. Flipping flies! Fiona was scared of hibernation. Lily's mind was reeling. She didn't think Fiona was scared of anything. But now she realized that Fiona was hiding her fear behind brave words and grandiose ideas. "I have to go," Lily cried, and she hopped away from the elderly frog who blinked once more. "Froglings these days," she muttered before shuffling once more into the winding shelves of books. Lily made her way to the festival, which was already in full swing. She could hear laughter and music, and twinkling lights dance between the silhouettes of trees. It looked magical, and Lily couldn't quite remember why she hadn't wanted to come in the first place. She looked around frantically for her friend. Where could she be? A frog sat slumped at a table, pushing around a pile of toasted beetles on her plate. Lily almost didn't recognize her boisterous and bouncy friend. Fiona looked sad and upset. Lily hopped over. Excuse me? Is this seat taken?" Fiona's head shot up. "Lily?" Her lip wobbled. "Lily, I'm so sorry." "No," Lily cried. "I'm sorry." And the two froglings threw their web feet around each other in a tight embrace. "I am so sorry, Lily," Fiona said again. "I have thought a lot about what happened, and I realized I may be possibly might not be the best listener. Lily laughed. Well, maybe not, but I also could speak up more when something's bothering me. Fiona, I went to the library and a very old and kind of strange frog with unreasonably large glasses helped me realize that you might be scared of hibernating. Is that true? Fiona's shoulders sagged. I didn't want you to think I'm a coward, she whispered. Lily hugged her friend again. Fiona, you are one of the bravest frogs I know, but everyone's afraid of something. I do have to tell you, though, I don't want to leave our home. I like it here and I want to stay. Fiona considered this, and then a slow smile spread across her face. You know what, Lily? I think I want to stay too. There's always next spring for travel adventures. So the two froglings ate and danced and laughed. And as the leaves changed to the golden and orange hues of fall, dropping one by one, and the ground grew cold and frozen, Lily and Fiona found a cozy nook beneath a rotting log. They held each other's webbed feet and settled in for a long winter sleep, as they did all things since they were tadpoles, together. I am so glad that Lily and Fiona were able to talk to each other and resolve their friendship upset. It can be really difficult to see things from another person's perspective. But this is so important to practice. This is what empathy is. Have you heard that word before? Here is a challenge you can try with your grown-up. Find one person who's a little different from your family and start a conversation with them. Maybe it's someone at the grocery store or another kid at the playground. Maybe your family wants to visit a senior center and listen to some stories of someone from a completely different generation. And you might be surprised who you end up having things in common with. Stories in the Woods are original stories by me, Megan Schmitz. Thank you to Rylan for today's forest fact. If you'd like to send me an interesting fact about a forest plant or animal, please email me at storiesinthewoodspodcast@gmail.com. That's storiesinthewoodspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find me at Littles in the Woods on Instagram and Facebook for nature play and tips for getting little explorers outside. Thanks for joining me. I can't wait to meet again for another story in the woods.